Hi, welcome to Wheels, where we help empower, elevate, love, and strengthen. I'm Neshonne McDonald, your host for today, and I am joined by my co-host, Taneisha and Sharonda Grandberry. And we're going to be having conversations today about working your plan, keeping the faith and working the plan through the year. So we've all been on this journey to better, doing bigger and better things, setting our goals, working our goals, moving into action. And today we're going to talk about tips and tools that can help us continue to work the plan. So ladies, we're going to jump right in. We all have that voice that we kind of hear and recognize as telling us, we're called to do more, right? And so when you hear that and you move into action, we have to have a plan. Like we have to have a plan to kind of know where to go, especially creatives, or we can kind of be all over the place. Right. So let's talk about some tools and some tips that you use. Let's talk about some of the goals that you're setting for the year. And so we can share some great information with our listeners today.
Well, for me, I use books, planners, just writing things down. First of all, just write it down. So if you get an idea, if you get something you want to do, write it out first. Unless you won't be able to fully see it unless you have it down on paper or have it down on a vision board. So for me, it's writing. The first step for me is to write it down.
And that's right. Good. That's good.
And that's kind of my thing too, is making sure that the areas that I choose to focus on this year, that I have a written detailed plan of action. Because just writing it down on paper without putting the steps to it, you would never move forward. And we don't have what we need to kind of keep us on track and focus. So for me, is developing a plan and then make sure that I have the actions to follow up with the plan.
And that's good. I love writing it down because we all hear the scripture from Habakkuk, we'll write the vision, make it plain. A lot of us have so many ideas and goals and dreams inside of us. We get to the paper and we have all this stuff and we don't know where to start. We start writing and then it becomes overwhelming. So having a plan, being able to take the pieces, digest them into small steps can really help. And so we're going to talk a little bit about goals and resolutions, because with it being the new year, and I don't know what time of the year, what time of season you're actually watching this video, but the new year is not just January the 1st. The new year, your new year can start tomorrow. So it's very relevant for whatever time or whatever season that you're in, but we like to set goals and we like to do quote unquote resolutions at the beginning of the year. But we've kind of moved out of the resolution phase.
Right.
So, we move into more goal setting, more planning and action. I was looking up actually the definition of goals and resolutions. And a goal is a point marking the end of a race or the object of a person's ambition or effort, an aim or desired result. And resolution is kind of similar, but I didn't know this, but resolution actually came from the ancient Babylonians. Over 4,000 years ago, they were the first to record celebrations in honor of the new year, which actually was in mid-March. And so the resolutions is a firm decision to do or not to do something. The quality of being determined. Intention, resolve, intent, aim, and plan. So you can see how they're very similar. But why do you think that we move from resolution to goal setting? And I'll tell you why I think. You guys tell me what your thoughts are.
I know for me, resolution, when I hear the word resolution and I see people try to, kind of pursue their resolution, whatever, it lasts 2 weeks. Yeah. And so for me, I say that I don't believe in resolutions because I'm looking at how people have treated resolutions over the years. Right. I believe in goals, I believe in a vision, and I believe in, pursuing that and carrying that out. But resolution is not a strong word to me. I haven't looked it up or anything like that, but that's just layman's terms.
Yeah. I feel the same way. Resolution, I'll say, okay, it's my New Year's resolution to lose 10 pounds. January 1st of another year come, I didn't lose an ounce.
You gained 10 pounds. that you was
so
trying
that's
to
just out the window.
yeah.
But when I have a goal in mind, say, okay, I want to lose 5 pounds by this date at this time, and these are the plans and the actions that are steps that I'll take to make sure it happens.
Yes.
So when you have a goal, you take steps and you make sure it happens. Not as far as a resolution, it's just like saying some words and they bounce off the wall.
It's just saying words.
I think what's key is that there's been some research done, and this is all, you can find this anywhere, that 8% of people actually keep their resolutions. Only 8%. So when you talk about the 8%, there are reasons that you don't keep the resolutions. But the statistic is much higher for people when you have goals, because there are actions that go along with those goals. Right. And with that comes tools, it comes people, it comes different inspirations and motivations. So in moving into that, let's talk a little bit about the overwhelmingness of moving into a new year, finding the balance to do all the things that you desire to do. Like I was saying earlier, sometimes there's so much that you want to do, or so much that you have inside of you. Even writing it down on paper, it looks like a lot. So you have to find balance. What are some of the things that you ladies do in order to keep yourselves balanced and on track in reaching your goals?
Okay, I'll start with that.
Okay.
The first thing is that, as you know, I have something called your 5-star success plan. And the reason why I created that is because it takes 5 important areas of my life, set goals in each of those areas, and then it has a plan of action to follow for each of them. But let me tell you, one thing that I'm doing differently this year is we are breaking up our year into 91-day focuses. And I know everybody usually say, you hear about the 21 days to create a habit, and 3 months, 91 days of focus. And the reason why we have that extra day is so that we have time to do strategic planning. So you take, through the year, you take just a few goals just to focus. And I think that's where a lot of us kind of get off track, is we try to do too much too soon, too quick, and don't know how to prioritize that. But when you take one day to have a strategic plan, put it on paper, and then you have 90 days to implement it. That helps for 2 reasons. Number 1, you got your plan, and then number 2, you don't over plan, because people like me, we can have analysis paralysis, and we plan for 3 months and then, and never do anything. So the Lord told me this year, take 1 day to plan and then 90 days to execute. And I guarantee you, when you have that type of focus, you will stay more on track, if you know what I mean.
And that's good, because you're still taking it in bite sizes, just 90 days at a time, or how many ever days, but that's really good advice. Doing the 91 days and 1 day to plan, and then you have 90 to implement.
Right,
and
to execute.
The way that the years are going now, 90 days goes by like that.
Yes.
So you really have to stay on track. You have to stay focused. So Sharonda, what are some of the things that you're doing?
Mine is a little different.
Okay.
So I just take one huge goal for that year. Now I do have a lot of different things that happen throughout the year. Being that I'm an influencer plus model, my goal last year was to obtain free merchandise or free products to promote. And so looking back over 2017, I received about $2,500 worth of free merchandise to promote, whether it was luggage or socks or dresses, so that was the goal for last year. Now this year, the goal is to be paid for those promotions. So I've gotten emails, and I'm going to get paid for my promotion.
Come on now.
How are you balancing it all, though? Because with one big goal, it's a little bit easier than much smaller goals. Are you finding that you're able to balance your motivations, staying inspirational, keeping things on track? Are you able to balance it okay? And if you are, what tools are you using?
Now, as for me, I target certain companies or certain brands. So I start with the small brands, and then I work my way up. And then when they send me products, or when they send me invites or emails, I keep a log on an Excel spreadsheet, and I, write down the date when I receive the products, and then the date when I have to post the products. But I start small and then work my way up to the company in which I would like to work with.
So it sounds like you're still using a plan, you're still setting small goals, and you're still, which enabled you to have the balance that you need.
That's
So
awesome.
one big goal and a whole bunch of baby goals.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Still broke down the elephant, as they say.
Yes,
Eat the
right.
elephant one bite
Eating
at
the
a time.
elephant one bite at a time.
That's
And
awesome.
so that's good. I love that. I love the 91-day target planning. SMART goals. I know you're
SMART
using SMART
goals.
goals.
Absolutely.
Talk a little bit about SMART goals. I know Taneisha, with women, I know that you guys do a lot of goal setting using SMART goals, which is so important because it allows you to measure and to keep up with what you're doing.
Right.
And so I definitely want to encourage, if you have a goal, definitely put a date on it. I was listening to a sermon one day, and I think it was T.D. Jakes, and he was talking about nobody wants to see a football game that doesn't have a clock on it. Like, that just never ends. It just keeps going.
Right.
The thing that really draws you into the game is that there is a clock. You know at some point it is going to end and there's going to be a winner declared. Without the clock, would people really be interested in watching it? Or would they be fully engaged? You know what I mean?
Because there's no end to it.
Because there's no end. It just keeps on going. So I think it's really good. Yeah, that was so good. I think it's really good to put a clock, put a stamp, a time, date on whatever it is that you want to do. You can hit it or you may miss it. But at least you have something to gauge, something that's measurable. And that's good.
But they get caught up in the, you know how we put time clocks on our life? We shouldn't put time clocks on our life. Oh, at 25, I need to be married. At 30, I should have my first child. At 40, I need to own my own home. We shouldn't, put clocks like that on our life.
That's right.
We need to have SMART goals and be specific in what we're doing and, make sure we make our plan. But when it comes to our life, I don't think we should put clocks on our life.
We have to leave room for God to be God in our life.
Yes,
and that's what that is.
Yes.
Exactly, because sometimes we may put a time stamp on it and God says we're not ready yet and he's still developing us, but the time will come. You said you may hit the goal or you may miss the goal. I say you may hit the goal or miss the goal, but don't delete the goal.
Right.
Reschedule the goal.
Rescheduling is good.
And then always leave room for God to be God in your life.
That's right.
And I believe that if you seek him, he'll show you
And
what you
one
need to
thing
do.
that the clock does, it does give you something to shoot for.
Yeah.
Because you have to have something in, or tomorrow will never come. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we can say that we'll do something tomorrow. I was reading a book that was referred to me by a friend, and there was a story in there about an old man that was laying on his deathbed, and there were all these people that were surrounding him. And he was like, "Oh, you must be friends of my children." And they were coming and they were weeping. And they were like, "No, we're all the dreams and all the visions, all the things that you never accomplished, that you never set forth to do. And we have come to die with you." I almost cried when I read that story. It was so profound. I mean, because you don't want to take anything, any gift, any talent, any vision, any dream to the dust with you.
Well, that goes with that saying, the richest place on earth is the grave.
Yep.
So many dreams, so many visions, and so many, things that didn't happen. So that goes right along with the saying, the richest place on earth is the grave.
That's huge. Well, we're going to take a brief break here, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about the importance of finding your tribe. Exactly what does that mean? And we're going to give you some tips and tools to continue working your plan through the new year.